They said the emperor feared only one thing, that someone, someday, would discover what he truly was. And because of that fear, anyone who learned too much was never seen again. Some were whispered to be buried alive in chambers no sunlight had ever touched. But this story begins long before the rumors. On the night the emperor first understood the cost of a secret, the empire was still young then. The capital shone with gold roofs and long avenues filled with lantern light, but behind the bright walls stood the inner palace, a cold and silent maze of stone. The emperor, barely 20 years old, walked those halls every night. He carried a secret inside him like a burning coal, something inherited from the rulers before him, something the world could never know. Only a few people in the palace understood the truth. They were chosen servants, handpicked since childhood, trained to obey without question. They learned to read the emperor's moods, to hide his strange habits, to keep the palace silent when strange noises echoed from his private chamber. They were told they would serve until death. Most of them believed it meant loyalty. They did not know it meant something far darker. One winter evening, the emperor summoned a young attendant named Lian. She had served him since she was a child. She was quiet, patient, and trusted. But that night, when she entered his chamber, she saw something she should not have seen. Something the emperor had kept hidden, even from his closest advisors. Her eyes widened, her breath froze. And in that moment, she became dangerous. The emperor rose from his throne, his face pale but calm. The flickering candlelight painted strange shadows behind him. "You saw?" he said softly. Lian fell to her knees. "Your Majesty, I will not speak. That is what the others said before you." He did not raise his voice. He did not show anger. Instead, he lifted a golden bell from his sleeve. 3 soft chimes echoed through the chamber. Within seconds, royal guards appeared. Guards who spoke to no one and answered only to him. Lian bowed her head, trembling, but the emperor looked away, as if the decision was out of his hands. "Take her," he whispered. Lian disappeared into the tunnels beneath the palace. No one saw her again, but the emperor's fear did not end there. Servants were the eyes and ears of the palace. They carried dishes, cleaned rooms, washed clothes, delivered letters. They heard things. They noticed things. And the emperor's secret was something no servant should ever notice. Soon, the emperor ordered the construction of a new mausoleum. Only he knew its true purpose. Dozens of workers dug deep into the earth, carving out a vast underground chamber. They believed it was for the emperor's future tomb. But once the foundation was done, the emperor sent them home with heavy gifts of silver and replaced them with loyal soldiers and mute servants who never left the palace walls again. The chamber grew larger. Stone doors were added. A single narrow tunnel connected it to the inner palace. And at the end of that tunnel, the emperor built a room for the servants who knew too much. A room with no second door, a room where the air tasted of earth and fear. They were given cushions, blankets, and lamps as if they were guests, but the walls were thick stone, and the door shut from the outside. Some cried, some begged, some prayed. None escaped. The emperor told himself this was necessary. He told himself that secrets protected the empire. He told himself that only he understood the burden of the truth he carried. But late at night, he walked the palace alone, hearing faint echoes beneath the floor, muffled voices, or perhaps only memories. Years passed. The emperor grew older, but his fear grew faster. Anyone who worked too closely with him was at risk. Even loyal servants felt the weight of silence. Some tried to leave the palace. Some vanished before they could pack their belongings. One night, a senior advisor named Wei confronted him. "Your Majesty," he said carefully, "fear is swallowing your throne. You bury the people who serve you. Soon, there will be no one left to trust." The emperor looked at him with tired eyes. "It is trust that destroys rulers. It is knowledge that kills kings. Weibo, but you are creating ghosts beneath your own feet." The Emperor did not respond. He simply dismissed the advisor and ordered a double guard outside his chambers. The next morning, Wei was gone. The palace became a place where laughter felt forbidden and whispers died as soon as they were spoken. Servants moved like shadows. Ministers spoke with lowered eyes. Every person feared hearing the soft chime of the Emperor say golden bell. But secrets, no matter how deeply buried, always find a way to rise. One stormy night, an earthquake shook the capital. Walls cracked, lanterns fell, and deep beneath the palace, the underground chamber collapsed. The stones shifted. The earth opened, and the Emperor, standing in his sleeping room above, heard something he had not heard in years. Voices. Many voices, calling for him. He rushed to the window, but the cries did not come from outside. They rose from the ground, loud, desperate, echoing through the cracks in the floor like the voices of people waking from eternal sleep. The Emperor's face turned white. He ran into the corridor, but the sound followed him. It filled the entire palace. It filled his mind. The weight of every buried secret pressed against him. That night, the Emperor locked himself inside his chamber. No guard dared to enter. No servant approached. By morning, when they finally broke down the doors, they found him lying beside his throne, eyes open but empty, as if he had seen the ghosts he himself had created. The cries beneath the palace stopped after that. The cracks were repaired. The chamber was sealed forever. But people say that on winter nights, when the wind is low and the palace is silent, you can still hear faint voices beneath the stone floors. Not angry, not vengeful, just waiting for the next ruler who thinks secrets can stay buried forever. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like and subscribe for more.